The first big event of this year's U.S. presidential election is mired in confusion and uncertainty today. We have no results as we speak this hour from the Democratic Party's Iowa caucuses. Officials are having a problem verifying the vote counts, but that is not stopping the frontrunners, all of them, from taking a victory lap.
At some point, the results will be announced. And when those results are announced, I have a good feeling we're going to be doing very, very well here in Iowa.
Tonight, an improbable hope became an undeniable reality. By all indications, we are going on to New Hampshire victorious.
So listen, it is too close to call, so I'm just going to tell you what I do know.
You won!
We're going to walk out of here with our share of delegates. We don't know exactly what it is yet, but we feel good about where we are. And look, so it's on to New Hampshire.
This is a difficult moment for Democrats. The contest for the party's presidential nomination is already contentious. There are questions over whether Iowa's overwhelmingly white and aging voters should even have the first say on who is the best candidate to take on Donald Trump. Then there's the intense media focus. Winners in Iowa count on positive coverage to boost their campaigns and also bring in some money. Top Democratic Party officials are trying to put the allegations of bias that poisoned the 2016 nomination race behind them for this year's campaign. But what a colossal debacle this has turned out to be. In Des Moines, live for us this morning, are Katie Simpson, part of the CBC News team covering those caucuses. Katie is right there at the hotel where Bernie Sanders is saying. So feel free to interrupt your coverage, Katie, if Mr. Sanders walks out, and I know you'll make him stop and answer some questions. But we can't even talk to him about, or I can't even mention him as saying the winner of the Iowa caucuses or finishing third place, because we do not know. Tell us about this epic fail.
Oh, it's a complete gong show. No one knows what's going on. Everyone's waiting to find out what the actual results are. And Democratic Party officials are saying, listen, we weren't hacked. We don't know what's going on. We're trying to track everything down. We have a paper trail. There's no sort of influence here. But they still don't have a concrete answer to show their supporters to say, OK, here's what happened. Here's where the support it lies at this point, because these campaigners need to head off to New Hampshire. Now, you mentioned we just happened to be staying at the same hotel as Bernie Sanders. And last night, to take the curtain back a little bit about the glamorous life of being a reporter on the road, we were sitting in the lobby about 12:30 in the morning, still working, sending pictures and video and clips back to Toronto and getting all of our stuff there ready, sending our scripts in. When we noticed Bernie Sanders' staff, they were sort of milling around, and we were able to actually see, because they knew we were in the lobby and we have our camera gear, we have our stuff, we were hoping to clip him. We saw him actually coming down the hallway as we hoped to try and ask him a question about what was going on. I actually tried to talk to him about NAFTA to try and just get him to stop, but that didn't work. But so he was here. He got in about 12:30 in the morning, and we haven't seen him just yet. So if there is an opportunity to ask him a question about what is going on, what information he has, or what information anyone has at this point, because there is going to be some frustration from Democrats, because this will be an opportunity for Donald Trump as well as Republicans to attack the party, to say they're unorganized, and it's really not the start to this contest that they were hoping for.
I mean, we've already seen that from Donald Trump and from Republicans. The tweets are flying saying what a botch this is. Okay, let's just cross our fingers that the timing of Bernie Sanders' departure for New Hampshire happens as we speak live, and we'll certainly interrupt that. Tell me about last night, though. Before you got back to the hotel, you were spending some time inside one of the caucuses, watching how it all works. What did you see and what did you hear as Democrats debated who should be their nominee?
Well, here's the thing. If all of these caucuses did not go well and they had trouble reporting and things were not verified and they had trouble reporting things, whether it was through their app or whether it was some other problem, we went to a caucus that was so well organized and there was drama on the floor, but it was calm. About 350 people in a suburban community about 20 minutes north of Des Moines. People came in, they lined up the chairs in rows of 5 to make sure it was easy to count. It was very orderly, organized, and they verified verified the numbers, they counted everything up, and it was Mayor Pete Buttigieg who declared last night that he did very well. He came out on top in that particular contest. And so we spoke with some of Pete Buttigieg's supporters. He got almost about twice the amount of support as any other candidate in that contest. His supporters were understandably pleased.
I think he has excellent chance to become the candidate. It was really positive and uplifting when we walked in and we saw so many people. It just goes to show the groundwork that we put in. The more people find out about him, the more people hear him, listen to his message, then I think it draws them in, and it makes them want to draw more people in along with them as well.
So even though that was very, very organized, as I mentioned, there was some drama there. After the first round of counting, Bernie Sanders, the senator from Vermont, he was not viable. Each candidate needs to get at least 15% support in the room to remain viable. Bernie Sanders did not do it in the first round. Elizabeth Warren was safe in the first round. Joe Biden was safe in the first round. And Pete Buttigieg, he had a clear lead in that safe round. But when they did the mix and mingle and this trying to sway people to bring them over to your side, Bernie Sanders did end up getting enough support in that room, and so those top four candidates were all viable from that specific location.
Okay, and one more question, Katie, because I'm just wondering, I mean, every 4 years we have this discussion. You hear the controversy over Iowa's having the first vote in any presidential cycle, and then there's always the criticism, it's so small, its electorate isn't representative of the country at the moment, and now here we have Iowa, which is really, has blown the one job that it had to do. Are you hearing there? Is this just sort of further adding to the controversy over Iowa's even going first at all?
Well, before this unfolded, this was already a question, and people were concerned that, as you mentioned, Iowa's not really representative of the rest of the United States, and that's a concern. Why should there be so much emphasis put on this particular location when it doesn't really reflect the makeup of the United States? Also, the process itself, caucusing, it's very confusing. There's a lot of math going on. People have to physically show up. You can't just go in, put a ballot there. Everything's out in the open. Nothing is secret, so you have to show your cards and show where you're putting your support, and that does have some concerns with it if people want to just put their name down or put their support behind a candidate and don't necessarily want to tell everyone about it. This process was already under scrutiny before this happened. Now, the next day, with no clear winner, no clear results being released at this point, it's only going to add fuel to that concern that this is not an appropriate start to how to start this process.
Katie, thank you very much. We'll look forward to your coverage today. I'll be back to you if Mr. Sanders emerges, and also when we finally get full numbers and final numbers, we'll certainly look forward to talking to you then. Katie Simpson in Des Moines, Iowa. I was mentioning Donald Trump and his reaction. He's certainly taking aim at the Democrats over the confusion in Iowa, tweeting this morning that this is an unmitigated disaster, is how Donald Trump frames it. He's been keeping up a running commentary on the Democratic presidential contest on social media, packing his timeline with jabs and insults. In this morning's post, Trump also celebrates his own victory in last night's Republican Party Iowa caucuses. He's facing no serious challenge for the presidential nomination.